Ladies and gentlemen, this is a 2022 Subaru Ascent Onyx Edition, and it's the new sort of special appearance package for the Subaru Ascent family SUV for the 2022 model year. And what I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to review this car. We're going to talk about what makes an Onyx an Onyx. We're going to measure out the cargo space. We're going to look at the passenger room. We're going to have a look at the convenience features on this particular car, and we're going to look at the safety features. Now, as always, if some of that sounds interesting and some of it sounds boring, check the description below for timestamps. So let's talk about what is a Subaru Ascent Onyx Edition. Well, essentially it's an Ascent Premium with a little bit of additional content and a bunch of stuff blacked out. Now, it's a little bit difficult to tell on this particular car because, of course, this car is black, but you do get the black window surrounds, you have the black mirror caps, you have black grills in the front, both for the main grille and where the fog lights are. You have the 20-inch black wheels, and of course you have the Onyx Edition badges and floor mats. Another feature I really like that's unique to the Onyx Edition Ascents is this little piece of trim right here is blacked out to go with the blackout theme, but on the regular Ascent Premiums, this is like this weird ivory color. It should not be that color. Subaru, make it black like this in all of them because this is much, much better. You also get the StarTex interior on the Subaru Ascent Onyx Edition. The StarTex is kind of an interesting combination of vinyl and neoprene. It's meant to stay cooler in the summer, warmer in the winter, be easier to clean up, and handle your active lifestyle, but that's what it looks like. Now it's time to use our handy dandy laser measuring tape and measure out the cargo space in the Subaru Ascent. The length from the back of the cargo area to the bottom of the third row seat with the third row seat up, 1 foot 8 inches. The width of the cargo area behind the third row seat, 4 feet and 4 inches. The height of the rear cargo area, 2 feet and 8 inches. The length of the rear cargo area with the third row seat folded down, but the second row seat in its rearmost position, 4 feet. The length of the cargo area with the second row and the third row seat folded down is approximately 6 feet and 8 inches. I say approximately because, of course, that could vary based on how far forward or backwards you have that first row seat set. The width of the cargo area at its narrowest point in between the wheel wells in the third row, 3 feet and 10 inches. And if you need to lift something into the back of your Ascent, you are going to have to lift it 2 feet and 8 inches. While we're back here, you do have some additional storage area underneath the load floor behind the third row. You can kind of stow some stuff there. This is also where you access the spare tire. You drop it down from underneath. It has some instructions there. And as you can see, if your Ascent came equipped with the factory tonneau cover, you can stow it back here as well. One feature that the Onyx Ascent does not have that the Onyx Outback and the Wilderness model cars do is the full-size spare. It's still a space saver spare on the Ascent Onyx Edition because I don't think they have enough room to put a full-size spare underneath the car. Now we're going to talk about the passenger space, and I'm just going to say right up front, I cannot sit in the third row seat on a Subaru Ascent. In my estimation, the third row seat is for people who are maybe 5'10" or shorter. I'm 6'5", so I'm only going to mess with the first 2 rows, and we're going to see if I can sit behind myself in a Subaru Ascent. All right, so as you can see, I can sit in the front of the Subaru Ascent, no problem there. And if I get in the back, just enough knee room, plenty of headroom, good room in the back of the Ascent. Now, one thing I will point out, in the third row seat, there's still some leg room behind me, but again, the third row seat to me is really kind of for children. Anybody 5'10" or less, and I apologize for my skewed viewpoint on that because I am 6'5", but there's your third row seat, and it's only the captain's chairs in the second row seat. Now we're going to start talking about the convenience features on the Subaru Ascent Onyx Edition, and we'll start in the back seat. In the third row specifically, you do have a total of 4 cup holders back there. You also have rear air vents from the factory for your third row passengers in the ceiling, which is very nice. You do not have USB charging standard from the factory in the third row, but it is available as a factory accessory. So it's something that can be added to an Ascent if you're ordering one, and even if you already own one of these cars, if you decide you need some USB charging ports in your third row, that accessory can be added after the fact. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, in the second row on the Onyx Edition Ascent, it should be noted this car is only available as a 7-passenger. So if you get an Onyx Edition, you're just going to get the captain's seats in the second row. You do have standard USB charging for your second row passengers. You also have, of course, the air vents for the climate control system and a panel to control the backseat climate control. And that panel can be locked from the front if the kids are messing with it too much, but more on that later. Now, moving up to the front and the convenience features up here, one thing I've always loved about the Ascent is Subaru was very clear about who their market was for this car, who was going to be driving it, and they built it to be a fantastic family car. So let's talk about the climate controls. You have dual zone in the front, and then you have a third zone for your backseat passengers. But if the kids are messing around with that panel too much, you can lock it very easily from the front and just control what the temperature is for the kids from the front seat. So if your kids are too young to mess with the temperature, you can do it for them. And if they're old enough to be messing around with it too much and jacking around with it, you can lock the panel so they can't mess with it. And if you really want to be a jerk, turn the heat all the way up on them on a hot day, or turn the air conditioning all the way up on them on a cold day. Freeze them out or heat them up back there. Kids are durable, they'll be fine. You also get the NARC mirror. This is fantastic. So you have this piece up here that works as a glasses holder, and that's all fine and good, but if you kind of only close it halfway, you have a mirror to watch the kids and see if they're making dirty faces at you because you turn the heat all the way up on them on a hot day. You also have this handy little button right down here that turns on all the dome lights in the car. So if it's nighttime, one of the kids is looking for something in the back, you just want to light things up and see what's going on, bing, just push that little button there, low to the left of the steering wheel. And you even have this handy dandy thing that shows you which one of your kids or whoever it is riding in the back has their seat belts buckled, so that's a good safety feature. Now, of course, a lot of these standard convenience features that you would expect are here as well. Power windows, mirrors, door locks, AM, FM, satellite radio. You do get a CD player as standard on all Subaru Ascent models at this time. That may change at some point in the future, but at least for now, if you want a CD player, put the Subaru Ascent on your list. This particular Onyx Edition does have the factory navigation system and the panoramic moonroof. Both of those are nice features, but that package in total is $2,200. So it's up to you if that's worth it to you or not. If you don't get the factory nav, all Ascents do come standard with the Apple CarPlay and the Android Auto, so you can look at the maps from your smartphone on the screen that way. You do need to physically plug it into the USB port to see it. Subaru does not currently offer the wireless versions of the Apple CarPlay or the Android Auto, but CarPlay and Android Auto are standard across the line, so that's a nice feature anyway. A power liftgate is standard on the Ascent Onyx Edition, as is the keyless access with the push button start, so you can just leave the key in your pocket or your bag, walk up to the car, put your hand in the handle, open it, push the start button, and you're good to go. And of course, no review of the Subaru Ascent would be complete without harping on the fact that it has 19 cup holders. So If you want to drink, you can drink in this car. Now we'll talk about the safety features on the Subaru Ascent Onyx Edition, and there are quite a few of them. Like all Ascents, the Onyx comes standard with Subaru's EyeSight safety system. Those are the two cameras that are always staring out of the front windshield, watching the road for you. If you've been doing your research on Subaru cars, you'll know that there's a crazy laundry list of things that those cameras do. But to break it down into layman's terms, if it sees an obstacle that you're not reacting to, a pedestrian or a car that stops, something like that, first it'll beep at you to tell you to stop. If you don't stop to the car's liking, it can apply the brakes on its own. If you hit the brakes, but it doesn't think you hit the brakes hard enough, it'll hit them harder. And if you panic and hit the gas instead of the brake, it'll cut the throttle and apply the brake. The EyeSight cameras also do the adaptive cruise control and the lane centering, which are sort of driver assistance things. The adaptive cruise control is something I find particularly nice and convenient. I'll put a link in the description if you want to know how to use those features, because I have made a how-to video on that before for Subarus. The Ascent Onyx Editions will come standard with the blind spot monitoring, which are the little lights in the rearview mirrors that light up when there's a car in your blind spot. That also includes the rear cross traffic alert, so when you put it in reverse, if those radar sensors sense a car coming crosswise, it'll beep at you to let you know there's a car coming. You also have reverse automatic braking with the parking sensors on the Onyx Edition. So you have these little sensors in the back bumper. They'll beep at you when you're in reverse if you're getting close to something. And if it thinks you're gonna hit something, it will apply the brakes so that you don't run into whatever it is that's behind you. That's actually saved me a couple of times on the storage lot in various Subaru vehicles. Thank you so much for watching my review of the Subaru Ascent Onyx Edition. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, leave me a comment with any questions, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.